If it comes out fast with, say, a Manta or an SNY, if he runs down Dreamo Cell, once a Morphling's out of mana, all you can really do is Strength Morph. And you're just like a walking stat
Yo, this
stick.
guy has no chill, man.
It's not much. You got to protect Dreamo Cell here, get that initial farm. I'm not sure what you really want to build into, though, as the Morphling in this matchup. Like, Shotgun is still decent, but I think we might be seeing an emphasis on a right-click build here for Dreamo Cell down the line. Just to maximize this Venge pickup again, playing with the range advantage you have. We'll see, though. They've got to go through these laning phase first, and again, MG Trust, they are running this Enchantress. It can be lane dominant. We have seen Q's Tiny already in play. They should know what to expect. They should be ready to counteract that aggression from MG Trust. Boom. A lot on the line, Mike. They need to win to keep the games going.
That they do. We'll bring up some loot bet odds and see what's going on there. And Boom is still favored, believe it or not. So even with this this 0-2 kind of score right now for them, they are still the favorites in this third matchup. It is still fairly close in terms of odds, but they are going to be sitting as the favorites to start things off for game number 3. If those odds are right for this third game. See what Dreamosaur can get done on this Morphling. Again, it has been a while since we've seen him play this Morph. You do tend to prefer to see, you know, Dreamosaur on a kind of mid-game carry, but Morph's not really one of them.
No, not quite. I mean, you could fight early if you go, say, an SNY, but you just rarely see that from Morphlings. I think in this game, you're going to have to protect Dreamosaur a lot more to get that initial farm going. They really need to pressure Jackie. I think Boom, the emphasis is less on getting Dreamosaur up, but more on keeping Jackie down. So they've got to get this off lane off to a really good start. They do draw even in bounties, not much of a scuffle there, as the lanes do start to break out. Of course, up top, you'll have Masaros with Q once more on the Signature Tide and the Tiny that Q plays amazingly well on. We'll see if they get that same snowball start against a Morphling and a lane partner in the Venge. Might not be as simple. Of course, this lane is rather passive. Like, it takes a while for the Venge to really have impact. And the Morphling, level 1, just has the Agi shift. So you're going to be focused more on the initial last hits here. And a couple of toss plays.
I do like the fact that KSQ does go for that level 1 Wave of Terror, though. The Tiny already has 0 armor at level 1, so just getting a -3 on that armor, definitely going to make KSQ hit a lot harder. Have a look at that mid lane. We'll see Makoto. He'll be up against Fearless on the Void Spirit. See if Makoto can have a bit of a better game this time around. Because the last time we saw him on this Wind Ranger, he was extremely dominant. But Fearless also extremely dominant on the Void Spirit, so it could really go either way.
It's an interesting back and forth. I think the lane is actually rather even. If you consider that Mikado's harassment with right clicks and Wind Run to boost himself is counteracted by the Resonant Pulse. So your harassment comes down to Power Shot, and because, you know, you prioritize that for farming, you're not going to be able to shove Fearless out as much as you'd want. So it's a back and forth one. Mikado is pulling slightly ahead early on. Going to have some emphasis on those power runes for both of these heroes, though. We'll see if the supports can help out down the line. You've got Hide Down Bot along with FBZ. So Murana should have a good time running up, but you've got Boom Bell here with Jackie. And Jackie's initial farm is going fine. He's not under as much pressure. 7-1, slightly behind Dreamosaur's 10-1, but they are getting a lot of good harassment off the Hyde. And that is one thing you have to watch from the Ench. If she does manage to get a good creep, she can also start to pump it up, but Hyde is playing it right, just clearing out the large camp, constantly leaving no creep options there for the Enchantress.
Definitely a nice sort of plays out from Hyde, and this was always going to be a problem for Boom Bell. Though he does have the level 1 impetus as well, so he can dish out a lot of damage onto that Marauder. Already forcing out the salve there from Hyde. Back over that mid lane, Fearless. Being harassed out quite nicely here by Makoto. Of course, you're always going to have the advantage in this lane because you are the ranged hero in that Wind Ranger. Fearless is just going to have to play very cautiously. Though in terms of CS, he is currently at the top with 16-2 on the Void Spirit, so even with all that harassment coming out, he's not suffering too much. Worst case scenario, he brings out some more regen for himself. It looks like he is going to have the bottle up pretty soon anyway.
Yeah, I think that's all you really want here is the Void Spirit. Get your EXP, you can trade evenly at the least in farm. Even if you expend some money on regen, you're fine. You expect the Wind Ranger to try to pull ahead. This is the key timing here for Mikado to try to get that lead going. And again, you have to watch those supports once the power runes start to come in. In fact, Q is already setting up behind the tier 1.
Q, can he get a nice toss back? There is going to be an observer ward to keep tabs from that side of the river. So it looks like Q going to make his rotation back up towards the top lane. Cute keeping his gap, and so is Dreamer so on that Morphling. No real openings right now for the Tiny. Seems to be one of the keys to trying to slow down Motivate Trust is not allowing Q to get those early game tossbacks into those tier 1 towers or anything like that. So he does tend to snowball out of control if you do allow those to happen in the early game. Still bot lane, that's where the power rune is going to be, but Hyde does leap forward and does take it off Fearless. They'll try to take out this Void Spirit, but he does juke nicely down to the low ground. And nice shackles out from Makoto. Q trying to help out, holding onto the Avalanche. He won't get it out in time. Instead, maybe deciding to go after Hyde. Does eventually toss back Makoto with the Avalanche now, but Makoto, he already had the wind run going. A bit of hesitation there from Q does cost them. That'll be your first blood coming up for Boom Esports.
It's a massive win there from Mikado, right where it counts as well down mid, giving your Wind Ranger a nice early start. This is a bit worrying. Mikado gets that good timing in the Javelin. Level 6 is going to come out soon. Going to be an easy time just getting an additional kill. So Fearless got to hold out. One death does not spell the end. Still keeping up in EXP. You have to watch Mikado. We know what this guy can do on the Wind Ranger. He is a beast if he hits his timings right.
BZ being chased down here by Boombell. Does still manage to take the boundary rune away from that Enchantress. Won't be under too much threat here on the LC. So Q's going to try and come in and see if he can pick off FBZ with the stun to start off, but he does press the attack, and Q will never throw out the Avalanche toss. Not through the press the attack, he won't. So again, the Tiny not able to get anything done. We are about 5.5 minutes in now, and Q is 0-0-0. I do think this might be the kind of the secret to beating out Motivate Trust, especially in the mid game. They're not really giving Motivate the great start they usually have. Even if you look at the CS board right now, Dreamer Soul is leading quite nicely in terms of CS, quite far ahead of Jackie. So everything is going well, but now Makoto is going to get jumped on by Fearless. Still Makoto going to go back for the Haste Rune, does manage to pick it up, and now goes for the Focus Fire back onto that Void Spirit with a great Shackles out, but Q is there with the Avalanche Toss and the Resonant Pulse. Makoto is low, but the Magic Missile is going to buy time for Makoto to just wind run out, get some bottle charges off, and be just fine.
Yeah, it's a pretty ballsy play for Mikado. Of course, just forcing out the movements here from MG and MG Trust. They've got to play a bit more cautious. There's a lot of emphasis here on Boom in the mid lane. They're trying to get Mikado up and running. They are basically really giving a lot of free space here to Dreamer Cell as well because of the movements mid. So as you mentioned, Dreamer Cell's up there in last hits. You do have Amasaros actually keeping up, but that's a tie. He's clearing out camps in the downtime using that Anchor Smash. Jackie is not having as good of a start, 10 last hits behind. Your PL is not going to match the timings of that Morph. That might be a cause of concern as Dreamer Cell with a mask of with the Morbid Mask ready to be able to get his farm up safely in the jungle if he needs to dip out there.
For stacks, Kescute's been preparing here on the side of Boom. A lot of stacks going on in this dire jungle. You do have to be a bit wary that that doesn't get scattered out here because Masaros can take them quite easily on the Tidehunter. Seems like they are going to want to give it away to Makoto on the Wind Ranger perhaps and just really allow him to get that fast MKB up. Makoto will make his way over and get started on those stacks as we do have the tier 1 neutral items coming up now. That'll pretty much give Boom all the neutral items through all these stacks that they've made.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good time having access to all of them. Of course, yeah, just getting a little views for them still for long though.
Bot lane, Jewel is going to be out. They do get the kill onto Boombell. Now Q going to come back in with the Void Spirit Fearless. He'll turn back around onto Hyde. He's managed to get a trade, but at least for Boom Esports, that is your first 10 jewel damage for FBZ.
Yeah, it sets themselves up for a really good start here. And you can see Boom starting to find that aggression we know them for. They are finding some early pickoffs. Still playing a relatively slow game, just focusing on that farm being built up. Hezky just being very efficient. Of course, with a wave of terror stacks, you can build up. And they're still at a really good spot. Less than 1k net worth lead, although Fearless.
Yeah, does jump in onto Makoto, now with an avalanche follow-up and a toss back from Q onto Makoto, but he's going to turn around with the focus fire now, and Boombill going to get sniped by Makoto with the power shot. FBZ was there just in case they needed the help. Turns out they didn't. They will get the Enchantress once again.
This is really keeping Mikado up there in terms of net worth. Tied up with Remocell thanks to all these kills. You still have Master slightly above. I mean, our Tide is getting a lot of free space. It's got to pay off here for MG Trust in a big way. They are sacking their other lanes with this kind of aggression. So we'll see whether or not Master lines up for it down the line. They do toss Jackie out from that lane. Time for RPL to just go safe in the jungle, as you still need to build up on that hero. So you're in the jungle there as Jackie. Dreamcell now is as well. They're going to be able to go for a bit of a tower push here for Boom, down in tier 1 bot. They will.
Same thing will happen up that top lane though. Motivate Trust going for the other tier 1 tower. A bit of a slow process between these two teams. They don't really have any tower taking kind of heroes. They'll eventually get it done. There is going to be a smoke up here from Kescute and Makoto back down into that bot lane. They're not going to spot out... Oh, they did. There's a ward watching Boombill right now. Makoto going to try and sneak up for a shackle. Just pop the wind run. Boombill still not realizing. There's your shackle and there's your focus fire out. And that'll be another kill onto Boombill. His third death of the game. Makoto enjoying just going after this Enchantress.
Yeah, and of course with that, Mikado has his Javelin, so the damage output from the Focus Fire is all the way up. Very good start here for the Wind Ranger, ready to buy some space out for Dreamocell. Mikado going to be looking to play aggressive. Fearless is making it annoying in the jungle though, but does not have the burst potential to handle Dreamocell yet, so you're going to have to just watch that Morphling, maybe get some wards out here for MG Trust, just to keep tracking that farm.
Avalanche in from Q, not going to be able to hold down Hyde, and Hyde gets a nice little arrow back onto Fearless. Jackie going to join in this mid lane now. Looks like he wants to go for that tier 1 tower push with this siege creep. Be able to get some decent damage off. Biff will be out though. Makoto with the power shot, just going to go into that creep wave. Moonlight Shadow to be popped. No sentries down here from Motivate. Won't matter anyway though. They get the siege creep with the arrow. That's all they wanted. They just want to make sure that Motivate Trust do not freely just get tier 1 towers in the mid lane like that.
Yeah, it's gonna stave off the push for a little bit longer. Of course, we haven't seen Masaros commit his Ravage yet. So they do have this big teamfight spell waiting to go. So a lot of patience here from MG Trust. Just building up farm. Same thing goes for Boom. Dreamocell having a free ride into his Yasha, into the Manta. Going to be focusing on a bit more of a right-click build for the most part. But you're also seeing the same timings being met by Jackie. Already switching into the SMY himself. So he'd like to play fast as well. Going to have to wait and see as the Windows items come out. Just really just farming on both sides efficiently. You've got some pretty interesting creep pulls here. Thanks to this enchanted melee creep. So right onto Masaros. More farm for the Tide. Always a good time.
And it is. So, farming up some ancient stacks now. Still at the top of the net worth board on that Morphling. He's going to rush into the shotgun build now for Dreamcell, so he will be able to get involved early on in this game once that shotgun is up. Fearless is trying to focus in on Hyde up that top lane, but it is a tough kill to get, especially when he has 3 leap charges. Might not have enough time to actually take Hyde out with the jump in, but he's going to give it a shot. Aether Remnant needs to latch on, but he won't even throw one out. Just force Hyde out of there, make him feel a bit uncomfortable. That'll be all for Hyde. That mid lane, Jackie. try and be disruptive towards Dreamer Cell on that Morphling. He hasn't queued up anything like a Diffusal Blade. He just wants to go for an SNY on the PL this game around. Not feeling the need for a Diffusal early on.
Yeah, I don't mind this from Jackie. Again, he's just going to go for more aggressive plays with that up and be able to join his team a little bit earlier than you'd expect with the SNY. So he's got that flexibility to play with the rest. I think right now, MG Trust are also building up towards that blink of Q. Our Tiny is just about 800 gold off that item. We're around 700 gold actually. So once it's up, we know what Q can do. And he does start to find openings for his team. Still, this is benefiting Boom in a big way. Dream Assault just free farming up, queuing into the E-Blade, and they do Moonlight Shadow up.
They do. Into that mid lane. Jackie should be alright. Looks like they're going to go up towards that top lane where Q is hanging around with Fearless. And Fearless is going to go for a TP, but a Shackles is going to be out from Makoto. And Fearless is going to go down very quick. They'll even chase down Q now on that Tiny. See if they can get a secondary pick off here. FBZ can't get in range for the jewel, and Kescute could not swap him in either. Still great news for Boom, however, right? 1-5, slight net worth lead, just less than 1k, but Dreamer Cell's farming like a madman. Everything is good.
That he is. It is. Like, they've gotten the space out for Dreamer Cell. Jackie's not number one net worth. Does have the SNY up, but as a PL, you know, it looks like he's still going to want to farm more. So it's going to be a bit of a slower game here. MG Trust just being very patient. They're not being too aggressive, holding back. They say if Boom wants to play the farm game, we'll farm as well. You may have the Morphling, but we have the PL. And they've got this Masaros Tide, which you can never discount. Masaros as well, for his part, saving for the Heaven's Halberd. Once you've got that, you can at least put a dent on this Wind Ranger, disarm her, and, well, she can't do damage on Focus Fire without that. So, gotta watch out for that timing. A tip out to Kescute for whatever reason. And there's that MKB out on Mikado. So his damage is up. This is way earlier than any of the first Halberds. So Mikado will want to make use of this in a big way.
And he will. Into that mid lane they go. Fearless is going to be around on the Void Spirit. Still working towards his own Yule Scepter. We'll jump in onto FBZ. They will not be able to get the Shackles nor the Jewel. The Kescute's hanging around in the Radiant jungle, seeing if he can sneak up behind somebody, but that is not going to be the case. Still, the whole side of Boom now will just wrap through the Radiant jungle, but Boombell will spot out Kescute. Does slow him up, but Makoto waiting for a nice opportunity to get a Shackles off. Will actually just try and back off. It looks like they are going to leave Kescute to die here on the bench. Everyone else just going to TP out of there, and, well, you'll lose a courier as well. Kescute's courier will go down with his Tranquil Boots, unfortunately for him.
Yeah, it's a sad time. You're not going to have that for a minute 40. You're going to have to wait once more for more things to fly in, but a freebie going the way of MG Trust, and they do smoke up. Masaros not in there. Does have a Ravage, but they might be able to blow something else up.
He's going to try and bait them in. The MKB is there on your Wind Ranger, so you definitely want to try and get this kill onto the Tide, but it looks like they are onto MG Trust. Still, they're going to jump in onto that Wind Ranger, but a nice swap out. Aether Remnant still going to be there with the Avalanche toss. Makoto about to drop the Ravage. Won't hit him in time. He'll get out of there. Q now just dying to hide, and here comes your Focus Fire out onto Masaros with the Jewel there from FBZ. They do manage to win out the teamfight. Boom Esports. Had that Ravage hit onto Makoto, it would have been a different story, but it did not.
Yeah, it's a massive loss for MG Trust. 2 heroes down for nothing. No Ravage for the next fight as well. So Boom, they see an opportunity. They're going to take that mid-tier 1. Fortify is up, but they're not going to have a defense in time. This tower's just going to fall. That's going to open up the jungle for Boom. The bot lane's going to be very safe to farm up. They are clumping around Fearless.
Astral Step the other way behind. Has a Yule Scepter into the Shackles, but it does not go onto Fearless.
Ooh.
Just the creep to the tree. Fearless now going to spot out Dreamer Cell. FBZ and Kescute all in their jungle. Q going to try and go in for an Avalanche toss play. Does kill off Kescute, and they're trying to hit and run here. Masaros just going to block off the side from Boom Esports from actually chasing any further, but he might be in trouble now. The arrow does connect now with the jewels coming out from FBZ and Masaros. Gonna go down a Dreamer Cell on the Morphling.
Yeah, that's not a good sign for MG Trust. They aren't too far behind. It's still just a 2k lead for Boom. But I look at the side of Boom. FBZ's got 40 damage on. They've got this momentum up. They're still trying to go, though.
Avalanche toss on to Hyde, and well, Fearless will just jump in and blow him up. They're still fighting pickoffs here and there, Motivate Trust, and the game does remain relatively even. The one thing that does stand out is Dreamer Soul is still farming a lot faster than Jackie at the moment. Currently about 2k ahead of the PL. He's getting closer and closer to having that Ethereal Blade up.
Yeah, it's going to be scary once Dreamer Cell does have that farm for the E-Blade. You're going to have to watch yourself with a real PL there. You're going to have to watch yourself with every hero because they're beyond Masteros. They're all fairly squishy. You've got to be careful with how far forward you get. Boom. You know, they're fine with this. And Dreamer Cell is still winning out the farm wars. They're getting some key kills on Mikato. The BKB for our Wind Ranger is about to come up. And once you've got that, it should be safer for Mikato to be in the front. What MG Trust needs right now really is for Masteros to actually finish his farm. So he's going to go into the Heaven's Halberd, still not done. Once you've got that, he is going to go Scepter. I think they need a blink. They need him to blink Ravage right on top of the heroes they need to pin down. If you catch the Wind Ranger at the edge, he's just going to run away. It's not a guaranteed hit.
Someone who does have the blink right now is FBZ. They've Moonlight shadowed up in that mid lane, hoping someone's going to come into farm, but nobody will. So Boom will give up on that kind of gank attempt. Now going to wrap towards that top lane where Jackie is, but Jackie, he's got the Diffusal Blade and he will TP back towards his own team. They may go for a counter smoke. They will. Ravage is back up on Masteros. He might try to bait for his team again. Scan out, not going to catch anyone. Kezcute going to have his smoke broken there with Q. Going forward from Q with the Avalanche toss out, and that'll be Kezcute gone. They got the Yules off onto Q, but it won't really matter because Hyde can't get an arrow off in time. Now Jackie going to rush forward onto that Mirana, and he just cannot get away. Nice 2 kills going to the way of Motivate Trust. So that'll be it for him. They won't find anyone else.
Yeah, it's just a game of cat and mouse. That does open up the Roche, though, but looks like they're just playing quick. No, they do go in. They commit. They're going to have that. Boom is going to have to move fast to counteract this. They do have some blinks. They should know something's up, but they don't have vision.
Starting to get a bit concerned here now for Boom Esports as Jackie's farm is starting to catch up to Dreamer Cell. And we've seen PL versus Morphling many times during the late game. It doesn't necessarily favor the Morphling. The PL just becomes such a pain, although they do jump in again with the Avalanche out FBZ. He's going to be alright. He'll walk away. Now the arrow connecting onto the Tiny. Almost taking him out, but not quite. Q is going to survive, and now Kezcute going to die once again on the Venge. They got the Aegis over to Jackie. Everything is just fine. Motivate Trust. They'll try for a T1 mid-tower.
Yeah, they should be able to find us. There's still a blink duel here from FBZ. But the tower just melts. So that was also the E-Blade reveal here from Dreamer Cell. He was forced to E-Blade. For some reason, FBZ did. I'm not too sure why that occurred, but they couldn't get the duel out because of it. So the entire fight was just sort of awkward for Boom. Gonna have to be a bit cautious. I mean, they can still go for the burst opportunities. Dreamer Cell is still pretty big. They're gonna have to find the right targets, though, as MG Trust are looking the big, although they do Moonlight.
They do. They're going to run straight into Fearless and Masteros. Ravage is still up. They're not going to actually fight into them. We're getting to the point soon where Fearless will have a Lincoln Sphere available, and that's going to make it a lot harder to deal with him. So you won't necessarily be able to get the shackles nor the jewels off. Or even that shotgun from the Morphling. I don't think Boom really want to wait this one out. I mean, I know it's tough with their draft to try and take advantage early on, but you are still versing a Phantom Lancer. It's going to be painful in that late game to try and deal with him and catch him out.
Yeah, it's going to be really slippery if Jackie does get the space out. Like, look at level 25, of course. Once that Doppelt CD is up, you're just not going to pin him down. So you've got to be cautious about playing it slow. They do take a tier 2 for free there on the side of MG Trust. They've still got, what, 3 minutes full on the Aegis. They've got a lot of time to play with here. Boom. And they are still farming up. They're not too far behind. 2k lead for MG Trust.
Fearless.
Again, Dreamercell still on top, although.
Using both his steps to try and catch up Makoto, but he will not, and now he cops an arrow, but Masaros is going to be there with a Ravage in case. They almost turned back around to go after Fearless, but they don't want to deal with the Tide Hunter, and I can't quite blame them. And speaking of the Tide, John, he is going to go back for that Blink now. So,
Yep.
you'll get your wish. You'll get the Blink up after the Halbert's finished.
And I mean, the Halberd's great. It's going to mess up the duels. And
FBZ, he got fogged.
No.
Yeah, he's trying for that duel. The Shackles will latch on. He'll go for it, but they have help Q. Gonna toss him away. He's not gonna die yet. Masaros, he'll get the Ravage off in time, and Jackie gonna try and fight this one out with Fearless. He'll just jump straight in onto Kezcute. Don't make that Dreamer Cell. He's out of mana on the Morphling. He will one charge up and just run away, but they're not done yet. They're gonna go after Kezcute. They'll take down the Venge. That'll be it. A 1-for-1. Still a good trade out for Boom Esports. They got the Tide, they got the Ravage expended. They only lost their POS 5.
Yeah, it's a good time here for Boom, but you can see the issues once Jackie starts focusing in on Dreamercell. He just runs out of mana and then he doesn't do anything. He's not quite a right-click hero when he's fully strength morphed up. They take the free tier 1 and they maintain that lead here, MG Trust. Again, they've still got a good amount of time on that Aegis. I think it's about a minute and a half now, so just a little bit more. They could eke out one more fight. Do not have Ravage, though. But Q with heads-up play just stalled it out long enough with that toss. That's what you want to see from Tinies. Offensive and defensive uses of the spells. And it just keeps them above. MG Trust widen that gap. 3k. Even Q is actually going for an E-Blade as well, just to mess that right-click damage from Mikado and from FBZ.
Fearless. No, Duel is going to be out in time from FBZ. They want to blow him up, and they do. Fearless playing a little bit too on the edge. Shackles going to fly out onto Boom Bell, but he'll be all right for now. Here comes the Avalanche toss out from Q, but it won't be enough to beat out Makoto. Hyde's going to go down on the Mirana to Masaros. Still a 1-for-1, but Hyde, he did buy back. Jackie continuing to just chase down Makoto, does force out the BKB charge. Back onto Dreamercell it is, but Dreamercell wants to try and fight up against Masaros, but just doesn't do any damage. And now Q going to go back in for the Avalanche toss onto FBZ. It won't be enough though. Hyde going for the arrow onto Jackie. Jackie's getting very, very low, but he still has the Aegis. Back into Dreamercell they go. They'll purge him up. Jackie doesn't seem to want to give up the Aegis. Power shot barely missing out. Dreamercell going to get the shotgun off. Does kill him. Masaros, however, has Ravage up in 20 seconds, and they'll get Hyde once again on the Mirana. That's a dieback. And you know they want to keep chasing. They know they can fight here. Masaros will get the gush off onto Kezcute, but they have detection. Q going to go for the Avalanche. Does eventually find out the Venge into the toss back. That'll be 2 going down for Boom Esports now. John, I didn't really notice, but Masaros has got the Imp Claw on the Tide Hunter. So he crits with the Anchor Smash. Well, that's just perfect.
Yep, that's what you want. And, you know, talk about Jackie.
Shackles is out with the duel out onto Jackie, but there's the Ravage coming out now from Masaros. They kill off Makoto, and FBZ also going to go down. Did they forget that the Ravage was available?
Maybe they were thinking that they'd burst down fast enough. It's not the case, though. Into the high ground, and, you know, I want to talk about Jackie. He died right in the edge. He had 5 seconds on that Aegis when he died the first time. I think he should have just thrown his body out, but, you know, he got lucky that the timer was on his side. And the Rax, it's going to fall. There's not much these 2 heroes can do. Boom. We've got to find a way to defend the other Rax, though. They're going to be up very fast. We've got to do something here.
They don't have buybacks, though. Jackie's a real problem now. They've even got the Vladimirs out onto Masaros and Q jumping in for the Avalanche, but not getting the toss back on Kezcute. Impetus is going to take down almost half of Kezcute's HP. They'll get the tier 3 top tower with the mid-racks, and that'll be enough. MG Trust, they are very happy with that. Now leading by 12k net worth. And Boom Esports, they've been in this position twice already throughout this series. It's looking tough for them, John. They haven't found a way out yet.
No, they have a lot of work to put in now. Excuse me. They've got a lot of work to put in. The BKB still has to fly out here for Dreamocell. Trying to save up for... I believe he buys it out, but that's not going to leave our Morphling with buyback. So, scary spot. There's an E-Blade up on Q again to break up the duel, to break up the focus fire. So you've got that tool on hand. They've got to make this BKB work. Dreamocell's got to make good use of it in the next fight, because this might be a trap. Like, he does not have buyback for 1,000 gold. He should be able to farm it up. But you know MG Trust, they're not going to be sitting back for too long. Maybe the furthest they'll wait for is the Roche, and we'll find out in about 30 seconds when it's up.
Hyde, he doesn't have buyback. It's on cooldown to press the attack. The leaps, it may not be enough. They can chase him down here. No, Jackie will decide not to. No need to overextend when you've got this net worth lead for MG Trust. They'll wait for another day. I think they are just very confident going into the late game here. In fact, boom, they've Moonlight Shadowed up. They're going to try and go into Masteros with the Jewel out, and he has Ravage up in 5 seconds, though. They've got to get him down ASAP through the Jewel. They don't. He might just Ravage now. 2 seconds left for it. Meanwhile, Fearless going on to Makoto. He's popped the BKB, but Jackie is chasing, even though the Focus Fire's taking him out. Jackie! He really wanted that Wind Ranger. Avalanche toss though from Q now. He has an Ethereal Blade on the Tiny. Hyde gonna go down. Dreamocell wanting to jump back in. Masteros still has that Ravage, but they don't want to fight without Jackie. Dreamocell will be able to kill off Boombill. And it seems like Jackie may have forgotten that Focus Fire does continue through the Doppelganger.
Yep. It's the one way you can really find that real appeal. Gotta be cautious about that. Huge opening for Boom. Might be able to find a tower, but doesn't look like they're going to be able to push fast enough. They're still going to hold out, though. But the respawns aren't that long from MG Trust, and they still have a Ravage.
That they do. 10k net worth lead. Dreamocell going to go into Masteros. FBZ will be smoked up there. He has a dual backup. Q going to juke out the magic missile out from Kezcute, but they want to try and go on to Fearless. Looks like they will ignore him for now. You've got to be a bit cautious. There's 10 seconds for this PL to be back up. He's still real menace here. It's about that time where both teams probably start just posturing for the Roshan.
Yeah.
It is still going to be a minute away.
Yeah, enough time for both sides to recuperate, start setting up some wards. Going to be the next big objective for both of them. Much more important for Boom. They do not want to give it off. They're going to need it as well if they want to force bigger fights. And we'll see if they'll get that control out. MG Trust lost a bit of that lead, down to 10k from about 12 or 14. So just dropping a bit. Got to be cautious. I think Jackie needs to be careful with his positioning. He is the main damage dealer. He is, you know, the hard carry. Does need to get the work out. I believe if Q was around with the E-Blade much faster, that might not have been an issue. He just wasn't able to get there in time. Want to stick perhaps a bit closer together here, MG Trust. They are just going to wait it out. Play it slow. Roche now, 10 seconds off. And they do have the blink up on Masteros, so it's easier to get the Ravage off. That should help them set up for even bigger fights here for MG.
Hey. Roshan's there. Boom Esports keeping grouped up. BKB now on FBZ, and they want to try with the fight. This 10-second BKB charge. Who do they run into first? Or Fearless does go onto the other side of the river. They'll ignore him. They want to try onto Boombill, but Masteros is just around with the Ravage. He'll get stunned up for quite a while, in fact, but not long enough to take him out. They do get Boombill. Dreamocell trying for the shotgun. Won't be able to get it on the Tidehunter. That was Dreamocell's 9-second BKB being expended. MG Trust, they look like they still want to fight this. Arrow will actually land onto the Tidehunter again. And boom, they are going to disengage. So just accepting the fact that they got that kill, that'll be enough for them. Get a bit of dual damage there for FBZ. Mask of Madness up on Dreamer Cell.
Yeah, I think he's gonna have to he's gonna disassemble it. He just forgot to lock his mask while there. So it's gonna be into the butterfly, and the rush is up. Jackie straight in. No wards from Boom to watch at anymore. They gotta be a bit cautious. They're gonna try to distract elsewhere here, and trust.
Arrow will scout it out. They know he's in there. They're gonna fight into a Ravage though. It's not gonna be an easy feat for them. Moonlight Shadow, 40 seconds on cooldown. FBZ being caught out there by your Void Spirit into the Aether Remnant. They want to try and blow FBZ up. He does BKB with the 10-second charge and barely gets out. In for Dreamer Cell. But Fearless. They catch him with that Aether Remnant. Won't be able to. Back into the Roshan pit. Another arrow to scout out the Roshan HP. But, oh, they've caught out Kezcute on the bench. That Roshan again, it's getting low. They can scout out with this Venge Illusion. Power Shot is going to be there with an arrow as well, but Jackie jukes that out. Meanwhile, Fearless trying to get Makoto, does catch him with the Aether Remnant, but Makoto just waiting for his BKB, but there's your Ravage. It's not going to make it in time to catch the Wind Ranger, but they got Hyde. He'll buy back immediately onto Dreamer Cell, but they are going to back after the buybacks are committed. Boom Bell might just die here for the cause. Masteros going to use that Halberd onto the Morphling, and they'll re-engage now. FBZ going to be careful as he does get jumped with the Aether Remnant, but a nice swap out from Kezcute. That'll be your dieback, however, on the bench. FBZ still in trouble. Hyde's gone down as well. There's 3 heroes down with that buyback. MG Trust, they are looking good here. They're starting to celebrate as Dreamer Cell has been caught out. He's got no HP or mana left. He gets tossed up. He goes down. Oh, MG Trust. They can taste victory. 15k net worth in the lead with an Aegis out and a cheese for Jackie. They're going to head toward that high ground now. See if they can get that final lane of barracks. They do still have to go through a tier 2 tower though, in all fairness.
Yeah, it looks like they don't care. I think they're going to go straight for tier 4s. They understand the advantage they have. You have to worry. Again, there have been moments where Boom can make plays, and it's all down to Mikado to hold out. They should get a couple of respawns in time, and they can force the buyback in Dreamer Cell. But it is getting scary.
Got the axe up on Fearless now. They may not be expecting this. Boom Esports could be their last team fight. They've got to try and make it happen. Try and continue this grand final. They've got a repair kit. They'll use it on one tier 4, but Fearless is going to jump in once again, straight onto Kezcute. They want to blow up this Venge, and they will. Now onto FBZ, but they get the BKB out in time on that LC. He's looking for the duel attempt. He's not going to get it yet in Q. He's going to be able to walk away. Back onto those tier 4 towers now. The Ancient is going to be exposed. They need to jump in right here, right now, Boom Esports. They'll buy out onto Dreamer Cell. The toss back on Jackie. The duel's going to be nothing. Now FBZ gone back on. He'll go down. Jackie's got him. Back onto the Ancient. Half HP. Boom. They're just retreating right now. They can't defend this. That's going to be it. GG's call. Motivate Trust. A 3-0 victory in the grand final up against Boom Esports. And I cannot believe I'm saying that, John. Motivate Trust out of nowhere.